Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a book haul for you. More specifically, it's kind of my birthday book haul. It is books that I bought before and during my birthday weekend and then this last weekend because I got a $50 gift card to Barnes& Noble as one of my birthday presents. So of course I ran out and bought a whole bunch of books. I know, because, I don't have enough to read. But anyway, I'm really excited about these because with the gift card, I actually bought some books I would have never normally bought. So I'm very excited about sharing these with you. And there's only one kind of new release in this. But let's go ahead and jump into the books. I'm very excited. Okay, so the first one is a book I've seen many times and have just never picked it up. And it is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. This book is a fantasy novel from what I understand and is magical. It is the book one in the Magicians trilogy. I love magical worlds, and so I'm really hoping that this one works for me. But I have never read anything by Lev Grossman, and I picked this up only because I've seen it over and over again, and hoping to kind of branch out into some other genres. So yeah, Lev Grossman, The Magicians. The next one I got was because of the 50 books to read before you turn 50. That was the Penguin Random House one, the weird list. But there were a couple books on there that I found really intriguing. And the first one is The Rape of Europa by Lynn Nicholas. I know, I can't speak today. This particular book is about World War II and specifically about the art world, and is one that the movie The Monuments Men was apparently based off of. And so I love that movie, first of all. I don't know why it really resonated with me, but I also, if you watch my channel, know that I love World War II stories. And so The Rape of Europa is one of the ones that was really an interesting one. I did buy it off of thrift books for like $3. So yeah, it wasn't a super expensive one, but I'm really excited to dig into this one at some point. I don't know when. The other book that I did buy off of that 50 books to read before you turn 50 is actually My Life in France by Julia Child. And this is one that Paris happens to be my favorite city in the world. I did watch the movie Julie and Julia, and have been fascinated with that story. I also happen to have a nephew who went to Le Cordon Bleu, and so I'm very excited to read this particular book. I don't know when, but yeah, Julia Child. And then the next book I ended up getting at a small independent bookstore in Venice Beach, California, called Small World Books. And it is about one of my favorite authors, which is called I, John Kennedy Toole by Kent Carroll and Jody Blanco. John Kennedy Toole wrote A Confederacy of Dunces, which made my 50 favorites list, of course. And I'm excited to read this one. I think this is actually a work of fiction. It was published in 2020, I believe. And so I am excited to read this one just because A Confederacy of Dunces is one of my favorite stories. And I don't know much about John Kennedy Toole other than I know that A Confederacy of Dunces was published after he passed away. So I'm excited to pick up that one too. I think it should be really interesting. It says a novel based on a true story. So it is not nonfiction, but it is more of a fictionalized tale. So we'll see how that one goes. The next one is by an author. I have read several of their books. None of them unfortunately made my 50 favorites list, but I have read several of this author's work. And this one is called Isaac Storm by Eric Larson. One of the books I read was Devil in the White City, which I really did enjoy quite a bit. This one is about the world's deadliest hurricane. It says A Man, a Time, and the Deadliest Hurricane in History. I don't know if that's true. This book was published in 1999, and so we've definitely had other hurricanes since that time. But this one says September 8th, 1900 began innocently in the seaside town of Galveston, Texas. Even Isaac Klein, resident meteorologist for the U.S. Weather Bureau, failed to grasp the true meaning of the strange deep sea swells and peculiar winds that greeted the city that morning. Mere hours later, Galveston found itself submerged by a monster hurricane that completely destroyed the town and killed over 6,000 people in what remains the greatest natural disaster in American history, and Isaac Klein found himself the victim of a devastating personal tragedy. So yeah, a combination of outdoor, Eric Larson. I think this one is going to be really interesting. I'm so surprised I haven't actually heard of this one before, considering how popular Devil in the White City is. But yeah, I'm excited to pick up I almost tried to combine titles. I'm excited to pick up Isaac Storm. All right, so the next one, when I saw it, I immediately had to get it. It is based off of one of my favorite authors, which is Agatha Christie, and Then There Were None is one of my favorite books. And I saw this and was like, yep, that's the book for me. And it is The Science of Murder, The Forensics of Agatha Christie by Carla Valentine. So this particular book was just published, I believe, in 2022. It says Agatha Christie is the best-selling novelist of all time. I'm not sure if that's true. I haven't looked. And nearly every story she ever wrote involves one, or more commonly, several dead bodies. And the cause of death, the motives behind violent crimes, the clues that inevitably are left behind, and the people who put the pieces together to solve the mystery invite the reader to analyze the evidence and race to find the answer before the detective does. Ooh, so yeah, very fun one, but works for me. I really am excited about reading this one as well. I love the cover of this one with that combination of fingerprint and skull. I think that's very cool. Plus the red cover. I have a thing for red covers lately. I'm not sure why, but A Science of Murder. Okay, so the next one is really one that's outside of my comfort zone. I mean, not outside of my comfort zone from a reading perspective, but I don't normally buy this genre. Mainly, I don't buy this genre because I read it so fast that I tend to feel like I'm wasting money when I buy this genre. Just making sure my microphone's on. But that is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I know that there's a couple very popular books by her, People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read, which I have not read, but how could I not pick up a book called Book Lovers? And on top of that, I've already read it. I read it over the weekend. It was part of kind of recovering from being sick. I really just wanted something light and easy to read, and this absolutely fit the bill for that. It has two characters whose names are Nora and I believe Charlie, and Nora is a book agent and Charlie is an editor, and they are in a small town, kind of that backstory. At the very beginning of the book, it's really fascinating because it has an agent kind of talking about tropes in books, which I thought was really, really clever. But Book Lovers by Emily Henry, I'll talk about this more in my July wrap up at some point. All right, so the next book is a fantasy one again. I ended up with quite a bit of fantasy and sci-fi in this, or a little bit of sci-fi, but the next book is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. The whole reason why I got this one is because of this little sticker right here, that there is a series on Netflix, and I would like to watch that series, but of course I have to read the book beforehand. So I did end up picking up this one. The back of this one says, orphan and expendable, Alina Starkon is a soldier who knows she may not survive her first trek across Shadowfold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. But when her regiment is attacked, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Cool. All right then. But yeah, I think this is a young adult. I'm not sure, but it'll be my first Leigh Bardugo novel. All right. So the next one, forgot something. All right, the next one is a sequel to a book I ended up reading, Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Also last week when I wasn't feeling well, just an easy book I wanted to read. And so what did I buy? I bought book 2, Court of Mist and Fury. The one thing I didn't realize is this one is, oh man, considerably bigger. So I don't know when I'll pick it up and read it, but yeah, I also love how these look on the shelf. I think it's really pretty. But I have finished A Court of Thorn and Roses, which I'll talk about at the end of July with my wrap up. And then I, of course, like I said, have Court of Mist and Fury, which is book 2. I won book 5 in the series, which is part of the reason why I started reading it, and I just wanted something fun to read as well. All right, and the last book is one that I am completely blaming on Fraser Simon from Springboard Thought, Sarah from Freshly Read Books, and Gemma from Gemma Books, because they were talking about this. We've been doing group reads of some science fiction books recently, and we have read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we were talking about our next read, and this particular book was one that they all raved about, and I have never read it. So I picked up this one, Leviathan Wakes by James S. A. Corey, which it says The Expanse, now a Prime original series. I've seen that out there, but I haven't read it. Interplanetary adventure the way it ought to be written by George R.R. Martin. Cool. This one says humanity is, first of all, it says, welcome to the future. Humanity has colonized the solar system, Mars, the moon, the asteroid belt, and beyond, but the stars are still out of reach. Jim Holden is XO of an ice miner making runs from the rings of Saturn to the mining stations of the belt, where he and his crew stumble upon a derelict ship, the Scopuli? Okay. They find themselves in possession of a secret they never wanted, a secret that someone is willing to kill for, and kill on a scale unfathomable to Jim and his crew. War is brewing in the system unless he can find out who left the ship and why. Ooh, all right. So I posted a picture of this book on Instagram, and someone said they felt sorry for me because there's 9 books and it takes a long time to make it through these. I haven't started it yet because I know once I started, I'm going to want to read probably the next 5 of them. But that is the other book that I ended up buying. Not a bad haul for my birthday. Lots, like I said, of books I would not have normally picked up, and just a lot of fun. And so we will go ahead, of course, and do a stack if I can get it framed. So here we go. Leviathan Wakes, Court of Mist and Fury, Shadow and Bone, Book Lovers, ooh, The Science of Murder, Isaac Storm, I, John Kennedy Toole, My Life in France. Ooh, look at that. The Rape of Europa and The Magicians. There you go. That is the monster stack. Look at that. That's amazing. So many great books. I can't wait to read so many, and one I obviously already read, so which was Book Lovers. But yeah, that's my book haul for my birthday. Very cool. I won't be buying books for a little bit. Well, that's not true. I will buy books. I will buy books at some point. We'll see. But that was my book haul for my birthday. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you've read any of these, if there's any other than obviously Book Lovers that I've already read, that you think I should pick up first. Should I jump into Leviathan Wakes? I don't know. I have, of course, a number of books that I'm reading, which I'm supposed to be starting this one, Kristen Laverne Statter, and then I have Jude the Obscure, which I'm actually making some significant progress in that, which is great. And then I have Mansfield Park, which I'm woefully behind on. So yeah, but let me know if there's a book in this that you think I should pick up, or if there were any of your favorites in there. I would love to hear that. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks, bye.